Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. How are you guys and gals doing? How is everything out there?
Oh, joy. K-Heads is first. Good to see you. Robbie Close second. Miss Mary Davidson 1502. Good to see you. Good to see you. Zuvayuya. I hope I got that right. I probably didn't, but it's good to see you. Oh, our very own Kristen Kruger. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a very interesting evening ahead of us. Hopefully you will enjoy.
Yeah, it is just wild times. We are certainly in the thick of it. Here we are, August 24th, 2026. Man, we are in momentous times. Everything is changing so quick, it could lead to your head spinning. I kid you not. How are you guys feeling? Again, how are you feeling? What are you sensing? What do you see going on in this crazy world that we are living in your everyday life as well? Are you seeing people awakening by the droves? That's what we're hearing.
Okay, and we have a Max Meek sighting. Good to see you. Miss Christine Love. Hello, hello. Ron, good to see you. Glad you could make it. Miss Susan Donahue. Robbie says he's feeling anxious. Oh boy. I think that's, one of the big things out there. ER Karmadoc in the house. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Ed the Lorax, good to see you. Either we've missed you a few times or you just haven't commented, but I'm glad you're in the house because I like the Lorax.
And Susan Donahue.
Indeed, Miss Susan Donahue.
Yes, great to see everybody. As always, if you want to find out more about us and what we do, check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com, including merchandise on the market, and learn more about our services and resources. There's so much that can help people. When it comes to energy healing, things like craniosacral therapy, which has to be done in person, but very effective. Again, we are Qigong practitioners. We are Reiki master teachers, and also practitioners of pranic healing and a variety of different energy-related traditions. We have been doing this for a very, very long time and have helped people all around the world. In fact, we've helped a lot of you guys, a lot. We did a Patreon and members video, went up on Patreon and then with YT memberships, talking about how we've come to a crossroads. Time to embody your truth. And I think that is one of the most important things we could get across right now. We really have to embody our truth. We have to be true to ourselves, true to the higher self, and it's time to kind of take a stand. It's time to, really put up your energetic barriers and just say, we are taking back this planet energetically.
Yes. Karma Doc says she has lots of headaches. We have weird weather. Whenever we have weird weather or any kind of weird fluctuations, I get headaches myself. But yeah, I think it's a really good time to just sort of define yourself and figure out what do you really want in this life.
Yes, absolutely. Susan says, I had a panic attack, 3 actually, no idea why. Very odd. All is good now. It's like part of me knows we're close. Yeah, Susan, that's it. People everywhere are having panic attacks right now because we are like right on the threshold. This is a momentous time. In fact, it's fascinating. I've been saying for quite a while that I think this month, which only has 7 more days left, we're going to look back at it and say this was a turning point. And have we already seen the events that will make it a turning point, or is there something just ahead of us that's going to give it that type of definition? It could be also energetically. I think, again, the awakening. People are awakening so much faster now and to a higher degree. It's just like everywhere you go, people are understanding that we've been living, in just what was that Jim Carrey movie? A Truman Show. It's been a Truman Show our whole lives, and now the masses are waking up to that fact.
Jump over to, I guess, the observer, because if you think about it, you can kind of get a good laugh at things. If you just imagine, what are they thinking, whoever the heck is watching us, turn yourself into that third person instead of staying there in your shoes constantly. Because that, I think that can get you wound up. But if you step out in a non-judgmental way and just look at what's going on, it's like, okay, yeah, you're stressed. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We all go through it. It's just been a little heavy lately.
Yeah, absolutely. And Susan and Robbie are both speaking about that, and we're all kind of going through it. Everybody I'm talking to is going through the same things. This is a pivotal point in time. It's a key point in our history as a collective, as a planet. We're shifting. There's a lot going on that we're not literally seeing, but is really, really happening when it comes to reality. I forget if it was last night now or the other night, but have you guys noticed at certain periods of time that time just doesn't feel right? Like, the other night I woke up and I went and looked at the clock and it had only been like an hour, but it felt like I was sleeping for 4 hours. It really did, and sometimes it works in reverse. I feel that it's true that something is happening when it comes to our reality being manipulated. We know they say they shut down CERN. We know there's also others like CERN. But CERN, from what we understand, was about trying to create timelines to keep us trapped. Yeah, I think something has shifted. Last time we went live, I was saying that, and thank you so much, Karma Doc. Look for independent candidates, run for local office, and if in Michigan, vote for Anthony Hudson for governor. Yes, Anthony is somebody that Karma Doc knows, and this is what we got to do, We have to get more involved directly, and I've been contacting our legislature on a regular basis, which is something I never did before, but the last couple months, yeah. I think we just got to take the extra effort to make our mind known. We are to push right now because I think we're in the thick of it, and the more we push for a free planet, free humanity, the quicker it's going to happen.
I agree. And if you're in a place where you just can't look at stuff right now, I've been going over a lot of the old SNL skits. I mean, oh my goodness. Thank you, SNL. Whoever cuts those up and just sends them out in little reels. That's really been keeping me going, if I just can't sit in my skin, because the panic attacks, they're very real. They're very real. And imagine the people who don't really understand the cosmic part of it, they're going through it too. So I think we just really need to, if you just can't sit with it, find something. You have to be more deliberate in shifting your attention. But otherwise, if you are able to do it, get involved at the lower levels and know what your community is doing.
Max says, are we saying things are getting better? I think they are, honestly. I think they're getting much better. I feel and sense that we've skipped timelines in a positive direction multiple times just in the last several weeks. Now, that doesn't mean they can't start some sort of craziness tomorrow. They're likely to. In fact, the more we shift into a positive timeline, the more likely they are to do something desperate. But at the same time, we have to keep pushing forward. Again, the awakening is the thing. When you get to this critical mass, which it feels like we're getting really close to some sort of critical mass, I think things will move exponentially fast. We might not even have a chance to catch our breath. Things will move so fast. Y'all are feeling it. You're sensing it. I'm sensing it too. I've been called to go within a lot more and to really deeply analyze everything. And I think a lot of us are having life reviews. And this is all, it's all because of where we are. There's something enormous happening, and it's quickening.
I wouldn't be surprised if that magnetosphere is something that is causing us to have heart palpitations, energy field issues, just overall changing our mind. And, when the poles shift and everything is going in a different direction on Earth, we really need to look at ourselves, because that affects us in such a big way. These huge earthquakes we've had a lot that are over 5, and that can throw people kind of off balance, depending on where you're at in the world. And I have seen them be all the way overseas, yet affect people all the way over here and have to reground and rebalance people. And thank you very much, Robbie. Prayers and love to anyone going through hard times right now. Love you guys. Love you too, Robbie. Thanks for that, and thanks for all the good vibes.
Yeah, there was a comment that got removed because it was saying it's not like nature, you idiot, it's God. What do you think God is? Again, this is part of the misconception that's going to be completely exposed. I do think that we are in the last years, maybe years, of the religions that we've seen dominate this planet, because people are growing spiritually. They're recognizing that we've just been indoctrinated. We have been brainwashed since the time we came into this body. Our whole lives have been nothing but indoctrination and brainwashing, to the point where you don't recognize that God's in nature, of course. The real source is in everything, including us. So it's really a case of ignorance, but it's also a case of intentional brainwashing, indoctrination. It's a psyop. We've all been under this black magic spell. And that spell is breaking. That's the good part. We're recognizing the spell is breaking. And the dark matrix is really, really crumbling.
It is. Thank goodness. Thank goodness for that. And yeah, I mean, everybody is going through something, and just being very mindful of, it's good to talk to friends, but keep in mind the friends that you're talking to might be going through something as well. They're just kind of keeping it to themselves. So whatever we take to someone else's doorstep, we need to be careful. You need to be careful. It is heavy out there. That's absolutely no joke. So the person who just, maybe they're masking it a little bit better. And that's the only difference between them and you, is they have better masking techniques, which are not very helpful. But look at Mother Nature. I mean, she seems to be throwing a fit too.
Yes, again, there's only one source. There's one ultimate source. There have been so many different entities called God, but they're not the one source in and of its entirety. Again, there are fractals of the one source, of which, that is what we are. And so we are ultimately source exploring everything through a myriad of different lenses. Think about a kaleidoscope, right? Everything depends at the angle at which you're looking at it. Here we see a pretty angry looking tornado. Again, when we are out of harmony inside our body, when something attacks our bodily systems, the white blood cells go to the attack, and they go to eliminate the threat. We have been manipulated by outside forces, and also from within, because again, there are a lot of people that just simply for profit will sell their soul, so to speak. They'll sell their neighbor. They'll, just basically do whatever for cash, and to boost their ego and everything. Service to self is what it's called. But if you're familiar with the law of one, service to self, service to others, that type of service to self is really self-destructive, because all it does is alienate you from the rest of everything. Again, we don't want to act like a virus in the body. We don't want to act like a parasite. But that's exactly what we've been plagued by, parasites and viruses. So it's up to us really to push them out. We need to become the white blood cells that are pushing out the invading organism that's trying to destroy the body. And again, the earth, we could look at the earth as our body. But it's even beyond that, because there's changes going on all the planets in our entire solar system and literally all around the galaxy. The changes that are going on are just beyond most people's comprehension and understanding. But the worst thing you could do is be a parasite, is to be, in that service to self where it becomes self-destructive to yourself by harming all the others. Because what's happening now, too, is everything is speeding up. Karma is the law of cause and effect, and it's moving faster than ever. And it's going to be moving exponentially fast as we come to a great reset point. And that great reset point is not the controllers. It's not the control system. It's nature. It's really Source. Source is going to have to reset this situation in order to allow us to move fully into a new era, a new time.
Yeah, and all in due time when it's time. I think when we're really truly ready to do something different and step on that different path and break the patterns, and that's when it'll happen. I mean, there's nothing convenient about this, and I think things are getting better only because we're learning the truth of it all. Every day there's a little more something coming out and a little more truth being told. And even though, it really hurts in some instances and some bubbles are being popped, that's just what it's going to take until people are downright, just completely done. And they're completely done. It's just like if you have pain in your own body and you have something going on, you got to figure it out. That pain is your teacher. It is a very good teacher. It's a quick teacher. Pain is a quick teacher. It's the fastest teacher you'll ever meet. The more it hurts, the quicker you want to try to figure things out. And, people do drastic things. I mean, sometimes you have to overhaul your whole diet. And that's not easy, especially in a world like this where almost everything that we're used to eating growing up with has sugar in it. Everything you pick up has some form of sugar in it. But, sugar, that's something that can cause a lot of anxiety. Sometimes it might help trying to figure out, if you have any food allergies. But a lot of food, depending on the microbiome, if you don't have a good microbiome, that gut-brain connection can be getting squashed. And that right there can be your anxiety.
Yeah, good to see you, Rosemary, join us. Again, Robbie was saying people have been very, very passive aggressive out there. It is part of what's going on. I mean, we are being affected, like Cindy keeps saying, we're being affected by the pole shift, the magnetic pole reversal. Because when the poles shift, they are shifting our consciousness. We have been living in an upside down, crooked, twisted, all screwed up reality, and it's just a case where it's got to be reset, and the pole shift will affect our consciousness, and hopefully it will straighten out the consciousnesses of those that have been doing the destroying and basically bribing others to go along with it. You look at the KP index right now, and it's very low. But also when you look at disclosure here, I was looking at the Schumann, and we finally had a little bit of a break. Let's see if it's still like that. It's a little bit lower because it's been running really high. So at least it feels like we have a little peace, a little break at the moment. It's coming in waves. I was talking about, from one of the videos, the galactic superwave. I plan on doing a whole video on that again because I think we're in the middle of it now. This energy coming in that is literally changing us, changing our cells, changing our DNA. This is what you're going through. You're going through upgrades. It looks painful and feels painful, though.
Yeah. I mean, it might feel really painful, but again, it's like looking at the poison and looking at all the bad things that are happening. Are they truly bad, or are they just bringing you to a higher space? Are they making you more self-aware? Are they getting you to ask questions about, how can you do things differently? How can you adjust your world, so things are clearer? It really is. It's all about adjusting our insides to kind of deal with the outside world, because you cannot control the outside world. You can only control you, period, 100%.
So this is what they're telling us. Global ocean temperatures have hit a record 21.1 degrees Celsius on August 22nd. Copernicus says that breaks the previous record of 21.09 degrees set in March 2024. Oceans usually peak in March or April, not August, making this record unusual timing. Scientists say a strengthening El Nino could become the strongest event since 1950 at least. Copernicus scientists said El Nino adds heat on top of decades of human-driven warming, we know. Again, climate is always changing. That's the one thing. Just look at the record. It always changes. It ebbs and flows. But we're looking at things that are a combination of natural and also augmented and obvious technology in some cases. This just feels really weird. I don't know why this tornado sticks out so much to me, but it does kind of remind me of Stranger Things. Cindy said, it looks like the one in Stranger Things.
Oh, it does. It does. I mean, it looks like something there is developing. And I saw Dan say something. He said, if we have a pole shift, does that mean I start dancing clockwise in a circle? I've always thought, Dan, if we have a pole shift, maybe, just maybe, my brain will start working properly instead of backwards.
Zuvuya, which means spinning, right? They were telling us that if you feel depressed, you need to cleanse. Drink simple tea like parsley juice, celery juice, clean the baggage within and get it out. I went through a lot of that recently too. As I've shared with you guys, I had like 4 of those real nasty Lone Stars bite me. And then it started to make me feel very, very off. And I know it was affecting my microbiome. And so, the correction has been probiotics, things like fermented products, and very, very much real strict reductionist diet. So, I've been on a completely zero, no sugar diet now for a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that, about 2 weeks, zero sugar. And I mean fructose too. I'm not even doing things like at this moment strawberries and blueberries and those type of things that I always was eating constantly. And it's made a huge difference. My microbiome is straightened straight out, and everything is great. And also the mood and the optimism comes right up. Our emotions can't be controlled by parasites, literally. An out of balance microbiome could drive people insane and even probably drive people to horrible acts and atrocities. I kid you not.
No, the microbiome is pretty serious. And I think finally, there's some studies coming out so that people can look at it and take it seriously, because when I was growing up, there was no attention paid to nutrition. You just ate to keep going. It didn't matter what you ate, just get something in your gut and get going. But now, I mean, it's so very important. If you want that change, you make the change. You want the change, you make the change. That's just a very harsh truth that we're at where we're at, and it is what it is. And with nature, you there's just no going around it. It's like our gut, it's our second brain. It's like one of the biggest parts of our nervous system besides our brain. So, that should tell you when you put things in your gut that are going to, irritate it, or things like a sugar, or, things that are just bad for you. All the foods, all the chemicals. You can't even call a lot of the foods that they give us these days food, because you just look at a list of chemicals on the back. What do you think that is going to do to your second brain, to your nervous system?
Absolutely. Mary asks, does that include cookies? Mary, I gave a whole bunch of cookies to the deer and to the chickens. So homemade cookies too. We don't buy store-bought cookies. So they were really not even that bad, honestly. They were really good, actually. But yeah, at this point, yeah, it's been It's been not as much of a challenge as you would think. Honestly, it's I just adjusted to it pretty easy. And Cindy even said something like, "I've never seen anybody that could, just
drop all sugar. You just don't see that very often where somebody quite literally drops like all sugar. But I mean, you needed to. You needed to make an adjustment, and you did it. So I guess in some ways I've never seen that, but it's doable. Obviously, it's doable. It depends on how bad you want it.
Yeah, and I'm getting so hypersensitive that I love coffee in the morning. I think I might be giving up coffee too. I mean, lately I've just been drinking mint tea all day, with nothing in it. No sweetener. Those tornadoes, by the way, were in France, and earlier in the month, French villages were destroyed by wildfires. Now tornadoes are decimating the area. This is not normal. This is not typical. And just to touch on that pole shift idea, I don't think that we have to have the catastrophe of crustal displacement events that wipe out everything with the pole shift. I think that's kind of a fear-based thing because it's in our DNA from back in the Younger Dryas period, and some other major earth change events in the past are probably still in our DNA and we're sensing it. And also, again, they do all the movies and everything showing these horrible cataclysms like the movie 2012 and The Day After Tomorrow and all sorts of stuff like that. But I think what we're going to see is the period of the earth changes are going to be drawn out. And, I remember Edgar Casey said something like he was going to be reborn in Nebraska in 2100, and it was going to be a place where the ocean was coming in. I don't know. We'll have to see if that ends up being the reality or not. But I think the reality is if we are aligned with Mother Nature and the planet, we will be able to move out of way. We'll psychically, intuitively know, hey, it's time to leave this area because something's coming. I don't know what, but I know something's coming. You'll get that message and you'll leave. The guides had told us that there were going to be mass migrations of people in the time coming from around the coastlines. And I think, again, when you have people that are so intuitive and sensitive, you'll know when it's time, if it ever is time for you to go from whatever area you're in. You'll just know. But that's why you have to have that practice, that daily spiritual practice, to cultivate that tie to the higher self, to your guides, and to Mother Nature, to Source.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to go, I mean, maybe some people choose to stay, and that's all good too. Or if you're supposed to go, it's just, it's one of those things. Life is not perfect. Life is messy, and some people get messages and some people are not supposed to get messages. And you got to kind of just trust nature to a very high degree and simply do your best.
Ray was saying, can we talk about the no power? Yeah, let's pull up power and see. There we go. And see how many, because it was, I think, about 79,000 people in Indiana didn't have power last time I had looked. Okay, or in Illinois, I should say. Okay, well, it looks like, according to this, or no, that was Gary, Indiana, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Gary, Indiana. That's the place that had there it is. Okay, they say only, 7,000 people. So, yeah, that's 1/10 of what it was. If that's accurate, we don't always know if all these numbers are accurate because we have to go on trust. Right now, it looks like Nevada's got 10,000 people out. There's some stuff going on up in the Reno area, absolutely. And Tennessee has 32,000 out. I wasn't aware of that with Tennessee. There are a lot of wildfires still going. As you can see, it looks like the West is all covered. When you look up at Canada, it's still all covered in wildfires. And then hand in hand with that will be basically very poor or very, very poor quality air readings too, which is very sad. talking about Reno, state of emergency declared. The Hawk fire injures 6 people near Reno. And 0% containment as of yesterday. 15,000 acres have been lost so far. So again, let's do a rain dance. We had rain come here today. We actually had a fire not far away from us. And it was interesting too, because we actually had, you had smelled smoke in the backyard one time. So it really could have been legit, but we did have a good downpouring today. And last time I looked, the fire was, I think, pretty much out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So luckily we have rain, but still there's a lot of places that need rain that aren't getting rain that, hopefully they will. Right now it's just a huge wildfire mess out there.
Yeah, I think what's the next age going to look like on the planet? It's going to be people working together. Something happens like wildfires truly naturally with, lightning strikes or what have you. Again, I think there'll be less of those things happening just simply because everything is going to be in more harmony and more alignment. When we, are using a different, truly clean source of energy, not like what they've been cycling through, and we're not poisoning and polluting the planet, you're going to find the weather's going to calm down. It's all going to calm down. We've grown up in an unnatural situation. This has been a artificially induced, just one disaster after another period of time, the Kali Yuga. This is in Japan. The city is sleeping after a powerful 5.8 magnitude earthquake rocked the city of Japan. It looks all quiet there. And, eyes are on Japan. You had a 6.0 off of Hokkaido. So, we've had some pretty decent sized ones. We also had another 6.0 at the Banda Sea area, Timor-Leste, which is not too far away from where we had a swarm. The swarm's dying down now. This is that swarm from that one bigger quake we had. And so this is the Timor-Leste area here. Looking at the largest, that is the largest right now, 6.0. And then we have in Indonesia 5.5. And we have another 5.0 right over there in the same area. When we look at the last 30 days, let's look at significant and see what we have activity-wise. We could see, there's a couple big ones over here. Remember, the 7.4 in Colombia, the 6.7 in Peru. And then we jump over to the other side, 7.7 Indonesia, 6.8 in Japan, 6.3 Philippines, 6.9 Indonesia, 5.8 China, 5.6 Alaska, and then we had 3.8 in California. Yeah, again, the bigger ones are probably still on the way, I would say. But this is a time of great change. How about all the lightning strikes? I was giving you some examples the last live we did, and there's another lightning strike. Lightning strikes people around the world all the time. But it just seems to be increasing as I look at this little 18-inch tall little baby doe coming over here. What a cutie coming in the yard. I throw corn out for them. Lightning strike kills mother and 2-year-old daughter in Broward County, Florida. This is, it just seems to be happening more often. These acts that you might attribute to nature seem to be occurring all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty sad. That's really sad. But yeah, comments in there about, if they control the weather. Of course, our true Gemma says, if I controlled the weather, I'd have rain right over all those fires. But wouldn't we? We would if those that were in charge actually cared about humans. I think all of us would, and that's the sad part, is it's not exactly humans that are making those judgment calls.
Yeah, Martine says no urge for alcohol because both my parents were alcoholics. Yeah, when you see what it does and damage that it does, it affects you in a different way. I used to absolutely love to have a glass of wine at night before bed. I did that for like 25 years. But I haven't drank in the last probably about 6 years now, something like that. Yeah, it's been like 6 years not touching alcohol, and I have absolutely zero desire for any alcohol anymore. It just leaves you. It's interesting how this goes. It's like stages. It's like you peel away one thing that is harmful after another, and you just keep peeling, trying to get to the core of what makes you you and how to become the very best self that you can. This is disconcerting. This is Spain. Dead birds everywhere. This has been happening in bunches. Now, this says there was massive oversized hail that came down. You just got to wonder. You really got to wonder what's going on. No, a lot of times I think it's due to different frequencies they put out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've often wondered too if there aren't those cloaked ships that might be in the sky, and these birds just whack. They hit them. They hit them. I think it's possible. I think there's a few possibilities out there. And Mary was asking, when was the last time the weather was not manipulated? And I don't know that there really was a time.
Thousands of years.
I think it's been a very long time, very long time. And I think the more they create populations and civilizations like we have right now, the more that weather is controlled to control those populations and civilizations.
Yeah, so Mary says, got to a point where I always wanted a clear mind. Alcohol made me stupid. Yeah, I think we get used to head change, or having to have a head change so we could escape this reality. But really, I feel now that I don't want to be foggy. I don't want to be, with some sort of chemically induced head change. The other thing is when you do practice meditation enough and things like Qigong and yoga, you'll find you could get to much more pleasurable states without taking anything in. You really can. It does take years to get to that point, but I think everything is moving much faster now, so it probably will not take the type of time that it used to. And I don't condemn anybody that is still having a glass of wine at night or a beer or what have you, being social with their family and all. These are things we grew up with. It was the social societal norms that we grew up with. And my family too, I mean, they didn't even, it was okay for the kids on holidays, at like say 16 or whatever, to have something, to have one beer or to have a little glass of wine at a holiday meal. That's really common in Europe. But at the same time, I just think that as we evolve, sometimes you just don't want it anymore, and things just don't appeal to you anymore. It's just part of the journey.
Yeah, it's a change in frequency. It's when you're ready to do something different, if it's causing problems or, if it's holding you at a certain frequency, sometimes you just get that feeling like you need to do something different.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, says, I drink because reality is practically insufferable. I can understand that, I mean, that's what I used to do. It's like you just had a really hard day. You were stressed out at work and everything, the corporate grind and all that. And then you come home and you just want to relax, watch a ball game or something, and, have a beer. I mean, that is so natural, understandable. But that was also, I think, the Kali Yuga. And I think that where we're going, you're going to find less and less people going that route. Actually, it's fascinating because the alcohol companies are in big trouble because people are stopping drinking in record numbers. I could probably find an article on that because that's something I see regularly. And, you got to ask the question here as they're setting up a drone, maybe to do some cloud seeding. But as the West dries up, more companies are promising they can make it rain. Yeah, states are spending millions in cloud seeding. And again, I think so much of what we call chemtrails might have started as cloud seeding, but I think there's always been other things going. we really should not have any weather issues, I think. If it would just be a matter of getting in harmony with the earth again. And of course, these frequency clouds, well, they'd have to go away. As you see here, this is Oceanside, California. Look at these frequencies going through the atmosphere. People know now. We know.
Oh, yes, we know.
Yeah. When we point this out, then you have about 5 people immediately leave the room. But it's not really that they left the room. It's just basically the algorithm saying, well, okay, they talked about something we don't want them talking about. Let's take away, 5%. If they bring up something else, we'll roll away 10%. It's all computer algorithms. But the reality is, too, people are not happy with data centers, and they're not happy with Big Brother, and it's all coming out. Ontario Premier unloads on Trump and threatens to cut electricity to the U.S. Trade dispute escalates. Yeah, again, here we go. We're going to the actors now. We're going to go watch Hollywood. Well, Hollywood, in the political arena. So, there's this, we all know that they've had these tariffs, that whole thing been going back and forth, and economic pain, now they're doing the whole thing with Canada and the U.S. again. It's getting kind of old. It really, really is getting kind of old. It's so obvious how contrived this whole thing is. It's all, again, part of it is just simply distraction. Just like the war in Iran, it didn't have to happen at that point in time. Why? Why did it have to happen at that point in time? Was Iran going to all of a sudden attack us then? I don't think so, again. But it was the timing of bringing about the economic collapse so they could try to introduce a more restrictive economic system. I don't think they're ever going to get it, though. I think all this is collapsing before they get there. But this is talking about Mark Carney's decision to exit trade talks with the Trump administration late Friday. The U.S. enacted 50% tariffs on Saturday on roughly $20 billion worth of Canadian goods. Yeah, again, this is just simply bringing about that economic crash that we all know has been coming for decades and decades.
Oh, well, yeah, definitely. There's some pretty serious change coming.
Yeah, Elena, like dark beers, like Guinness. Yeah, absolutely. But she quit drinking years ago. So there you go. It's all part of the experience that we're in and the path. The Experiencer 2. I've been telling everybody that's volcanic here in Reno. It's volcanic in a lot more areas than people realize. In New Mexico, where we were, we did one video inside a caldera. It was an ancient caldera, and there was pumice everywhere, and it was really cool. I mean, we had lava rocks all over the place in Amargosa and in New Mexico.
New Mexico, there were lava tubes everywhere.
Yes, lava tubes. That was so fun. That was El Malpais, I think it was. That was really fun, going and exploring and feeling the vibrations there. So, Marine Le Pen poised to win French elections. New poll shows commanding first-round lead. What's really happening? Well, Macron is being exposed in more ways than one. With the whole file thing. There's so much coming out right now. Of course, he was always just a Rothschild puppet. All this is falling apart. That's all falling apart. They have contingency plans. They have, what's that word that we use, that term that we would use? They have planted opposition in place that, they could still call into effect, make them operate so that they could still maintain control. Again, this whole system has been one big illusion. And yet, it's going to take a little time in some ways, but the collapse, I think the collapse can happen very quick, and that's where we're at. I think the collapse is between now and 2028. But hopefully by 2028, it's just, there's not much left to do but to sweep.
Agreed.
That would be ideal. So, yeah, I would expect the pendulum to swing. But the pendulum always swung when we look back at U.S. presidents. Again, you went from Reagan on the right to the Clintons way over on the left, and then you came back to the Bushes way over on the right, and go back to Obama way over on the left, back to Trump, who was actually a Democrat at one point in time and then switched to the Republican Party. You know, again, we all recognize it's WWE entertainment when you really get down to it. And, what decisions does Macron really make? I don't know. Probably nothing really significant. 49ers owner Jed York busted in Ohio prostitution case. The thing is, like we were saying, if you're a billionaire, you're in the club, the dark club that runs the show here. Even if you are, say, somebody that's graced with hundreds of millions of dollars where you could buy professional teams, chances are you're pretty corrupt. I think it's just the way this system is. This, Kali Yuga reality is one in which that's who they promote. The most corruptible, because the more corruptible the person is, the easier they are to control. This is, again, what the E-Man was doing. Gathering dirt on people so that you could totally control them. And that makes it really easy to manipulate reality.
And that's just what they've done forever.
It is. And so, does this surprise me? No, not at all. In fact, there's going to be so much more dirt coming out on, basically all these Lites, who we've probably seen them. Maybe we even cheered for them in so many ways. But now, I mean, gosh, when you think about that, think about some of the actors that we actually liked in the past, like when Tom Hanks first came onto the scene in Bosom Buddies. I think that was the name of that comedy show, right? Bosom Buddies. I thought he was great. He always seemed so likable, but now we know better. And, all of them, it's like Hollywood is just one big satanic party.
Yeah, and nothing has changed except for knowledge.
Yeah, and that's everything. Knowledge is everything. When you really understand what's going on, then it changes. It changes everything. It should change everything. U.S. Army attack helicopters crashing at a historically high rate amid mechanical issues. I wonder if they have any Chinese chips in them. Just curious. I have no idea.
Maybe.
But we were talking about everything. It does seem like technology is fading, isn't it? I mean, technology just seems to be worse now than 10 years ago. How many of you have problems with your phones or your computers or your pads, right? It just seems like it's not getting better. I think it's an incompatible frequency issue. I really do. I think as our frequency rises, the technology which was built to enslave us is going to fail.
Things aren't working too good.
No, think about this too. And the energy waves that are coming in and are initiating all the changes on the planet, those waves are intended to clear away all the pestilence on the planet, all the parasites, the whole dark control web. And of course, the military-industrial complex is a massive part of the dark control system. Data centers, oh bleep moment, yeah. Because everybody is doing what we did and stop data centers, t-shirts and the like, and mugs. Yeah, humans, no data centers. If you want to know the absolute truth, where do most of the legitimate channelers say that the problem is coming from? Again, it goes back to that group called the Draco, which literally don't even come from this reality. They come from a different universe. They came into this universe by creating a portal, think CERN. That's their technology. They opened up a portal into this reality from their reality after they were enslaved by the AI they created and are now servants for. So ultimately, the ultimate Satan is ultimately an AI system which has enslaved these reptilians that then came into our reality and started to take over and create these wars, the Orion Wars, the Orion-Lyran Wars. This is just, we're on the outskirts. We are Tatooine in Star Wars. If you're familiar with Tatooine and the whole Star Wars thing, we're way out there on the fringe of the galactic arm. We're way out away from the center of the galaxy. So in so many ways, the bigger battles are won. And we're just basically on a place that's been occupied by these dark controllers. And, we're realizing what's been going on. We've been manipulated. We need to get back in harmony with the earth, with the real God, the real creator, the real source of all. And we don't need any dogma to get to source. Source is in us. So, yeah, I do think, that you're going to see the end of organized religion as we know. But at the same time, you're going to see people are going to have a much truer, more authentic, stronger connection to the real God, the real source of all.
I think as soon as people are no longer being told what to do, it's much easier to figure it out.
It is. Absolutely. So, yeah, data centers, that's one of those issues that's pushing people over the edge. And it's a good thing because we're pushing back. And no, we will not accept data centers at the cost of human lives because that's what it's going to do. There's not enough water. That's what they tell us. And then they're utilizing more resources than people in big cities like Phoenix and Vegas. It's a no-brainer. The data center's got to go.
Well, tie the data center with their taking water to the companies that are promising water.
Yeah, and then I was watching a video which was supposedly banned, certainly banned from YouTube, so I didn't play it now, but it was from 2019, and it was in a UN meeting, and they were talking about the effects of FIVEG on people, and just admitting in the UN meeting that it was damaging the health of people drastically. And now, they want to roll out something that's going to be, many, many more times more dangerous to our health. It's just, basically it's a desperation tactic from a group that's lost the war. And, again, I don't think they're going to get to that point. Bear attacks, conflicts with humans reach historic levels in Colorado. Bear sightings and encounters are on the rise in Colorado and elsewhere as animals travel out of the wild into populated areas. We have all these fires ongoing too. We have extreme weather conditions going on. And part of it, I think, is a frequency war because you do have some humans that are very, very self-destructive and very, very destructive to the environment. As we're saying, when your body has an infection, it's got to send out its soldiers. Its soldiers are the white blood cells. And it's the same thing here on the planet.
Indeed.
So, yeah, it's a combination of many, many things. We need to get back in harmony with nature. We need to adapt a totally different way of looking at things. Here we are. We don't have the proper perspective. We are part of a greater body. We are all cells in the planet Earth. And the Earth itself, her consciousness is our collective consciousness. So we need to come into alignment with life in general instead of just the opposite that we've been led into. And it has been a leading. They've led us down this path. And now we can reject it just like we reject the data centers.
I agree, 100%.
We have a 68-year-old French tourist that died after becoming stranded in California's Death Valley National Park. He set out on foot for help as the temperatures reached 116. He began walking with a companion across the exposed salt flats. After the vehicle becomes stuck in mud on a remote road, he was unable to continue after about 1.3 miles and was found dead. As this sign says, 10 minutes outside, that's it. And you might die. And Cindy, again, we lived in this area together for 18 months. Cindy was in this area for like 20-something years. And she remembers more than one person doing the exact same thing.
I don't know how it happens and why they couldn't somehow have more warnings or something, but every single year, it would happen for all of those years. Somebody would die because their car broke down, and very unfortunate because, people, there's no cell service. Who are you going to call? And these places, they're just so many miles, 20, 30 miles from anything. And then that anything might be closed when you get there. So, I mean, it's just not wise to go there in the summertime. At nighttime, maybe at night, definitely not in the day.
No, we would always try to get out there and do our hiking and be back by like 10 in the morning, be back by 10 because it just gets unbearable and you might find yourself just passing out. And I just wanted to bring this up. We have to speak out more about this. It says Trump is capturing wild horses captured in Nevada, forcing them side by side and slaughtering them. This is real. They do these roundups, and it is a horrible thing. We've been out there, and we've seen, we've seen when they slaughter the burros, and it's just horrible. And this has to stop.
It's everywhere. They're doing it everywhere. And then at certain local levels, they're the ones who are allowing it too. So it's not like you can really point the finger at one thing. It's several things. It could be stopped at a lower level if they wanted to, but somebody's getting paid.
Please do speak up about this. We need to speak up about this. This is exactly the type of negative karma that, comes back at everyone. So, we've talked about these red sprites, but what are they really? Again, ultimately, everything is consciousness. Everything is consciousness. And we recognize that there's other beings. We look at a limited spectrum. The visible light spectrum is just the tiniest little slice of all that there is. There's all sorts of different dimensions and densities. And, there's all sorts of beings. Some beings are plasma beings. In fact, us on a different dimension. We are plasma beings too, on a different dimension.
Oh, we sure are. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, the thing is, man, this is a great awakening. This is where we are right now. It's exciting, so it's darkest before the dawn, and that's where we are. We're at that like 1 hour before the sun's rising, maybe even only a half hour before the sun's rising. So it's pretty dark right now, but the dawn is coming and consciousness is raising, and we're going to understand we've never been alone. You've never been alone for an entire moment in your life. There's again so many different layers to reality. Don't you think this was some sort of structure? I mean, look at this. That is a melted building of some sort.
It's a melted mini castle.
Yeah, John Levy has gone missing for a month. I know he's still doing his Patreons, but he just stopped doing his one video a week routine. And, it's more than likely, I don't know, but maybe he's going through some of this ascension symptoms that are hitting everybody. I wouldn't doubt it because John's very awake, and he's in tune with the planet, and he is a good guy. So I'm sure he's going through his ascension issues as well. This is Hyperion, the world's largest tree. This is in Redwood National Forest in California. It's almost 400 feet tall. Look at this. What an elder that is.
That's a big one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Joe says I've been missing John on Sunday mornings too. Yeah, that's typically our Sunday morning thing is we watch John for 20 minutes and then we start doing our thing. So, we send positive energy to John and his family because, they're an extended part of our family. Absolutely. And we're going to be doing a live, well, I don't think a live, we're going to be making a video with David Devine tomorrow morning, and it'll be on his channel. I'm not sure when he'll put it up, but we just hadn't connected in a while, so we got together and we'll be doing a show with David Devine, And always fun, because David comes from the commodity side of things and a lot of the weather and the history side of things as well. And definitely a friend and a brother there. Look at this cutie. So as always, guys, I will give you thanks for all the support that you give us. If you feel inclined to join us on Patreon or with YouTube memberships, please do. We try to get exclusive videos up on a weekly basis for the members and also on Patreon. And we have a lot of other things planned. It's just been a real challenging time keeping up with the work because we have our consultations that we do, the energy work, which occupies a lot of time each week, and then the videos, and then the homestead too. So it's been a lot. And then just the self-care, because you got to take care of yourself in these times. Your higher self is begging for the reconnection. We got to get in contact with the higher self and draw as much of the higher self into ourselves at this time as we can. Prioritize the spiritual, prioritize good, clean food, clean water, and, again, keep working on becoming the best version of yourself possible.
Indeed.
Cindy's going to give us some dings, and I'll say Loka Samasta Suki no Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may my thoughts, words, acts, and deeds contribute to that happiness and that freedom.
So I want to say a huge thank you for tonight's sponsors, Robbie and Karmadoc. Thank you so much. And here we go with some dings. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.